Alright, hello crafty creators, and this is Crafty Creations by Paul, and of course I'm Paul, and welcome to the channel. What I'm going to do here today is I want to take this little pot here and I want to turn it into a marbleized, this pot right here, sorry. I want to turn it into a marbleized version and make it look like green marble. So couple of things though to start off with before we do that is everything that you're going to need. So it's important to have all the stuff you need kind of right there, because once you get your resin mixed, you don't really, I mean, you have time to work with it, but it starts to heat up and it starts to set. And of course the very first thing you're going to need is resin, and I like to use this brand right here, this Fuhidum or whatever it is. Stuff's awesome. As you can see, there is virtually no bubbles in that. I mean, that is as clear as water, and that's what you want. But you have to treat it a certain way to keep it that way. You're going to need your color. I'm going to be using Rolio's Robin's Egg Green for this. It's kind of like a blue-green. You're going to need your measuring spoon. Anything will work. And if you don't have measuring spoons, you can use these sticks to measure it out and to grab what you need. Of course, you're going to need a mixing stick. And I use these little plastic Dixie cups I get from Walmart. Come in a package of like 50, and they work great. And so I'm going to use that. I'm going to be using this Ocean White resin pigment by Let's Resin. Stuff works great with the actual mica powder. They kind of work together. You're going to need a spray bottle with isopropyl alcohol in it. Most people use 91%. Not a fan of it, but if that's what you want to do, you do you, and if that's all you can get, it'll work. I use 99% isopropyl alcohol that I get from Amazon, and I buy this in packages of 12, so I have plenty of that. And yeah, so we're going to mix some of this up, and what I like to do first is I like to take my little cup here, and I like to put the resin on the bottom. I mean the mica powder on the bottom, because if you don't and you stir it up, it tends to kind of flop around and kind of flop out, and next thing you know, you got mica powder on your workstation, and it kind of creates a mess. So then we're going to take our resin and we're just going to pour some of it into the cup. I don't measure anything except for the resin. Now this is 14 ounces of resin. I mixed it by volume. And when you mix the resin, make sure that you look at the instructions and see, does that resin need to be mixed by volume or is it mixed by weight? If it's mixed by volume, I just use measuring cups that I get from Amazon that have the markings on the side, and I use 2 of them because they're only 8-ounce cups. So I have to use 2 of them because I'm using about 7 ounces in each cup. And I'm not going to be using all of this resin, but I'm going to be using a pretty good bunch of it. I've got another project I need to use some clear resin for, and I want to make sure that I have enough for that. Alright, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this white pigment and I'm just going to drizzle some in there. Alright. I'm not quite happy with that. I think I need just a little bit more. Oh yeah, that looks more like it. Okay, so we're going to mix this up and give that a good mix. Scrape the sides and make sure you get all the stuff off the sides. You don't want anything left in there, and scrape the bottom where it's settled down to. Don't lift your stick up out of the resin and put it back in, because the more you do that, the more bubbles you can incorporate back into your resin. Alright, so I've got that mixed up. Now the green we mixed up, if you notice, but on top of there's just some of these little spots where the mica powder didn't get mixed good. So I'm going to go ahead and give that one more real quick stir, and I'm going to scrape those sides and I'm going to stir that up real good. Okay, then I'm going to let it, oops, look at that, done made a mess. Another great thing to have, baby wipes. If you use a paddle mixer or anything like that, I don't ever leave my resin sit on there, because even though people say it's easy to clean off of a silicone paddle, it's not. It kind of sucks. So I prefer not to do that, and I use these things. I buy these things in 3-packs because I always need them. All right. So then the next thing you're going to need, of course, is your mold. And so this particular mold here is going to end up on a green version. It's going to look like this, and it has a little screw top on it. And as you can see, I did the purple. Not really too stoked about the way this one turned out, but it's all right. It'll sell. Okay, so now that we've got that, I get my alcohol over here, and what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to just give it a little spritz. And what that does is that kind of helps the resin to kind of flow where you need it to go. Okay? Then, in order to get this marbling effect, what you have to do is you have to take this resin that you mixed and just gently pour it into the white. Alright? So now what I do is I pour it until I see it just hit the top. And you can see where, if you look at it, you can see this, where it just did kind of come to the top. So I'm just going to stick this stick in here, and I'm going to kind of swirl this around a little bit. Because if you don't, it's all in one area. It'll work, but may not give you the result you want, and I think that's what happened on the purple one that I did. So then I usually pour the lid first. So we're going to pour everything into this lid, and just start right in the center, and then just kind of work. Don't pour this too fast, because the enemy of resin is the bubbles. And the faster you work and the faster you do things, the more chance you have of incorporating bubbles in here. And while I'm pouring this, if you watch, I'm not just sitting in one spot. I'm moving this around so as to make sure that it comes up with the right effect. Alright, so then I've got the ridges in there. I got the lip of this thing, so I want to make sure that I just kind of pull this around a little bit. But like I say, that alcohol is going to help push that into those areas that you need it to go. So we're just going to kind of slide that little dude right off to the side. And now we're going to pour the actual pot itself. Okay? So as I pour this, once again, I start in the center, and I kind of let it do its thing. And if you notice, it will marble, but it just marbles differently. And what I like to do is I like to kind of change positions of the cup also when I'm pouring something like this pot to get it full. Now I'm going to have some of this left over. This is way too much for this pot, but I've got other things that I'm going to use it for. But I just kind of wanted to pour this in here to give you an idea on how to get the marbling effect. And some people may do it different ways. I find that this works for me, and you know, as you work with resin, you're going to find that different things work different for you. Just because somebody says that's the way you need to do it doesn't necessarily mean that that's the rule of thumb for everything that you do. Alright, so as you notice, I've got that done. I've got both of these parts done. I've got them both full, and I'm just going to kind of tap that down a little bit and kind of tap on the sides. See, there's one little bubble there. That's where your alcohol comes in handy. Just a little spray bottle, a little spritz bottle. You don't need much. And if you watch, when I spray this, that bubble disappears. Don't take much. Just spray it on the top of it, and those bubbles are going to go away. So what I'm going to do is we're going to leave this sit. It's probably going to take 8 hours or so. It's hot here today, so it might not take quite as much. It's going to get into the upper 90s, so this will cure pretty quick. Now if it was like 80 outside or something like that, it's going to take a good 12 hours for this to cure. So that's what you do in order to get that marbling effect. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to come back after this is done, and we will unmold it and see what it looks like. Thanks for watching. Alright, so now we're set to demold these. I want to do my best to demold these on the screen because, well, I don't have anybody moving the camera for me, so I'm just kind of stationary. So this is the green marbled little pot that I made. So let's just go ahead and take this bad boy apart. Still a little soft, but it's okay to demold it now. So let's pull this out, get everything. It'll kind of bend and squish around a little bit, but it'll keep its shape. So yeah, I'm not totally disappointed with the way that one turned out. I mean, it's, you know, it looks pretty good. Not bad. All right. Now let's take this one out. These are a little harder to get out because, you know, you go right up to that ridge. But if you just, you know, I see a lot of people putting water down there, and that's okay. However you can demold it is fine. But anyway, we're going to pull this out. All right. So, like I say, still just a little soft, but that's okay. It'll set up. Not bad. I'm not totally disappointed in that. Didn't quite have the marbling I expected, but still, it's not a bad looking little jar. You put the lid on there, and when it's all said and done, it looks pretty good. That's, you know, all on account of the way that we poured the resin in there. Not happy because I did get a couple little flaws down here, little bubbles that didn't dissipate, but that's okay. It'll be fine. Anyway, so there you go. That's what they look like by doing the actual marbling on these. All right, well, thanks for sticking around, and there'll be more videos to come, and I appreciate you looking. And make sure you like and subscribe and share this to all your friends. Thank you.